FlyQuest versus Team Liquid went to Game 5, and I'm going to be watching it, because why not? First, let's set the playback to right speed. Volume's good. Way. Draft time. Okay. So, Mordekaiser has been seen as something that, it seems to be growing in popularity, and I'm not entirely sure why. It teeters between completely worthless and like fighting off 5 people individually, which is a very big. Uh, it's very dependent on circumstances. Now, if we look at the things that it's against, what problems do we see here? Problems are we seeing? That's a lot of problems. That's a lot of range. He's just gonna get kited. He's gonna get pushed back. He's not gonna be able to enter team fights. He's not really gonna be able to enter anyone, or get into any space and then ult anyone. Who does he beat? Bard. He can beat Volibear. And I mean, if he's really, really strong, he could beat any of them. But if we're assuming, kind of normal levels, neutral levels for everyone, I would imagine he can beat just the jungler and the support. I guess if he hits his grabby thing, he can kill Ashe. But it seems fairly difficult for him to get into those positions to ult Ashe. If he's trying to walk somewhere and he's on a ward, he's just going to get hit with a Tempered Fate. If he tries to walk into anyone, I mean, he's going to have to ult the Volibear, right? That's going to be the big target. I guess he could ult Impact, not with the hope of beating him, but just removing him from the map so that he can't use his Call of the Forge God effectively. But that seems like a really weird thing to pick a whole champion to do. Especially when you could have picked a Braum, I guess, if that was really what you wanted to do. And then you would have had a stronger top lane pick. But, to each their own. The matchup itself, I feel like Ornn just wins it. It really doesn't seem like it's a good Mordekaiser matchup, but maybe it might be dependent on. Huh. No, I'm gonna give it to Ornn. I tried to think through all their abilities, how they fight, and their play patterns, and I guess there is a world where if Solo can hit the claw thing that I don't remember the name of, he might be able to get a good trade on to the Ornn, but I really don't think so. And even in those cases where he's, doing a lot against the Ornn, it's not going to be a big discrepancy. Ornn is going to stay pretty much the same. He's a very stable pick, and doesn't really not going to get hurt by losing the lane. Then the jungle matchup is Graves versus Volibear. But they both clear relatively fast. Probably going to have a mirror clear where one goes one direction, the other one is going the same direction. Because Graves wants to secure the lanes. He doesn't necessarily want to gank them, but he wants to make sure that they are not ganked. And so he's going to match, or going to look to match, Broxa across wherever the hell he's going. Now, as of right now, they don't really have vision in the just at 48 seconds as they come from the cool cinematic thing. But it looks like they're moving into the blue side, at least to figure out where Brox is starting, which should help Santorin figure out his pathing. You can also, of course, guess based on the normative uh, pathing for Volibear, and also the matchups in this game. Generally speaking, there's no particular reason to gank the top side because Ornn is both stable on his own. Impact is a weak side top laner, or he specializes in these kinds of weak side top lane um, game styles. And I was ragging on the Mordekaiser, but he is also relatively stable. He's not as stable as Ornn. He can kind of fall down in value, but his effectiveness is just going to be the same effectiveness. Really, it's just can he 1v3 or is he just going to be ulting one person and then praying that that's going to be enough to help his team? It's generally based on his Mordekaiser's effectiveness is generally based on what he's against, and I don't know if he's going to have very high effectiveness, but either way, this is going to be weak side anyway. TL are probably going to be moving this way, which means Santorin should probably be starting and going down this way, unless he thinks that he can get some kind of gank off on Impact because he knows that he's going to be on weak side. Also, of course, generally, Graves is going to outscale the Volibear. Mid lane is Syndra versus Azir. I feel like there's also Arcane Comet Azir. So this is, I believe, this is the more harass lane choice for the Azir, and I think that this is going to give the control of the lane to Jensen, to the Azir. Unless Power of Evil can make really good use of his level 1. I would imagine that overall it's going to be Azir controlling the lane, and then they'll just start trading the waves back and forth. They'll just clear the waves. And then the movement, though, they're just going to sit here. Yeah, I was going to say, they're going to go over here and they're going to roam, and nah, that's probably not actually. I guess it could happen. But I feel like Jensen's not really that prone to do that, and Power of Evil isn't really. Does he have anywhere he wants to go? Not really. I guess they could try to dive. No. No. Yeah, no. They're gonna sit here. With general priority on the Azir, I think. But I could be wrong, and I might just be underestimating Syndra's power. But I think a lot of my estimation has to do with the nerfs, and I don't think I've seen this matchup at this level of play since the nerfs, personally. Then the bottom lane is Jhin Thresh versus Ashe Bard. Jhin has been seen as this like answer to every champion in the game right now. He's kind of emerged as an answer to Caitlyn. And now, he's being picked into champions like Ashe. He is a very hard scaling champion. He will do a lot of damage. And he also kind of has a bit of like we just look at his point. His ultimate is kind of like an initiation. It can also, of course, be used to execute people because that's the design function for it. But it also has kind of initiation qualities where you catch someone out, they're slowed, and then your entire team can kind of collapse onto those targets. So there is kind of like a utility behind Jhin. Of course, also he has his root or snare, whichever one it is. The issue is that Bard is in the game, which means he's just going to Tempered Fate every single curtain call, assuming that he can. Also, of course, Ash can also stop the curtain call. So because he's one of the only champions in the game that just locks himself in place with no actual defense, this is going to be problematic against the Jhin, so that's not necessarily the best. But that's more out of lane. I guess in lane, I feel like Ash Bard should have the priority, which makes sense in terms of as you look at the team that we're looking at. I mean, TL known for putting impact on weak side, so moving down onto the bottom side and seeing if they can look for dives or prioritize dragon makes sense. If everything goes right, it feels like TL have a pretty good composition, right? It's very defense oriented, very like stand your ground. You're sitting in a spot and you're saying, "Come into us." Now the Volibear doesn't necessarily say that, but he's Volibear. He's really, I guess, just designed to snowball. But you don't really have a place you want to snowball. I guess you could have snowballed the mid laner, but because Syndra is vulnerable to the Volibear, so as he's kind of pathing in this, I'll just look at the minimap. He's pathing in this like a raptor to Rybrush area. This is going to be the big zones of attack around here. Not the not the dotted line that I just circled around, but that general area. This general area is going to be the big place where Volibear is going to want to stalk around, take most of his time in, try to snowball against the Syndra, see if they can do anything to dive Jhin, because Jhin and Thresh, while they do have a decent amount of CC, do not necessarily have great defense outside of the CC for dives. And their jungler doesn't necessarily provide. I guess Smokescreen's pretty high value there, but their jungler isn't going to be, as long as you can kind of catch them by surprise. Maybe their jungler's on the opposite side or whatever. But Santorin's job is obviously, as I said, to path along with the Volibear so that he can't necessarily do those things. So, I mean, in an ideal world, he's getting some things off on Power of Evil, but also in that same ideal world, Santorin is coming in and defending Power of Evil, preventing that from happening. So in a neutral state, they'll take TL. I think the TL generally have a better overall composition. I think that FlyQuest is fairly snowbally. If they start snowballing, it'll get the ball rolls, and then it just gets worse and worse for Team Liquid. But it's a matter of defending and preventing yourself from falling too far behind, or allowing the snowball to just keep rolling unabated. So, game time.
Best regular season record ever. The number one seed heading into playoffs after winning 4 championship titles in the last 5 splits are staring down the barrel, being knocked in the lower bracket by FlyQuest. We're going to get right back to their second straight LCS final of the third place regular season and a second place finish in spring overall. See if they can do it here with champions on the Rift. Playing a fairly low risk style, there is a deep ward from Impact that'll track some of the jungle starts of Santorin and figure out which side of the lane they're going to play to.
Should be a really exciting one. And honestly, not much surprising as far as the runes or starting setups here. Maybe the only thing that I would say atypical, and it kind of feels funny to say it, is actually the Power of Evil setup here with Electrocute. This used to be the standard a long time ago, but these days you see almost exclusively Phase Rush. And even when you're against champions such as the Volibear, Phase Rush can make...
Already something to look at. Likewise did not check where Volibear is starting. And technically speaking, it's possible for Volibear to start leashless on blue. But of course, what's happening here is it seems like more intuition based. You're seeing okay, well, the way that TL plays is usually weak side top into plays around mid and bottom. So if that's the case, Santorin starting on blue and then going, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, red, bottom, then Krugs, or if they're fine, then he can switch over. He can no, because of the way that the lane is going to be, Santorin probably has to go blue, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, red, topside scuttle. Even that might be a little difficult. It's really dependent on the normative like the planned out pathing is dependent on the normative lane setup at level 3, because you have to plan it around based where solo is going to be, where impact is going to be, where Jensen's going to be, where Power Evil is going to be, and where the bottom lane is going to be within their lanes. Because if Power Evil is like hard shoved into the lane, if that's the expectation, then he can transfer through the mid lane to the top side scuttle and then back down. But I mean, same thing has to happen on the other side, right? So it's gonna be red, Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, blue, bottom scuttle. Are they gonna contest at bottom scuttle? I feel like you just contest at bottom scuttle, right? You contest on bottom scuttle because no, Santorin takes bottom scuttle. Santorin has to. Okay, Santorin always goes bottom scuttle. I think Broxa, knowing that he's going to do that, probably has to take top scuttle. But it also is dependent on what happens in the bottom lane. I think that's the big question here. But because I think that TL should have priority, we'll see. Okay, so they're matching each other. It's fine. Broxa probably clears faster. So far, it seems neutral. If not, no, neutral. I thought Tactical might pull it so that it kind of slows the wave slightly.
The hugest power spike on all sides. I want to point out, right? Bard learned Q at level 1. Right? He went for the sun, didn't put a bunch of health relics down for Jensen in the mid lane. He went for lane dominance, but at the end of the day, both bot lanes get level 2. No big hard dive happening, and it's going to be equal farm. It was like 11
okay. If it says neutral, then it might be... He skips Raptors. Okay, so... Santorin skips Raptors here.
Mostly about...
I probably just... Graves can do the Raptors, it's just... He must be looking for a specific play.
Until after Turtle's W, that is the correct play is lane out. Don't make your teammate miss his skill shot. Do the easy setup. Big damage there. Big Knight was burned. Heal was burned on the other side as well. Summoner's down. Mostly, I guess it's 2 for 2 overall because Turtle burned.
Okay, he's contesting bottom scuttle.
There's no phase rush for Broxus, so we can actually get chased down here potentially.
Wait.
Okay.
That went awful.
If you want to face this brush, I will stun you. You'll be hit by the storm, and we'll take this fight back. My bot lane moves over, but it is still damage dealt. It is recall forth.
Santorin could have gotten... Okay, he didn't want to waste the extra couple of seconds, because he was basically sitting around for here. He was like 18 seconds ahead of the crab. He doesn't have any actual avenue of doing anything unless Ignar hits some miracle hook right now, which I guess is possible because he did just hit a hook here, but the timing is really awkward. So this might be a matter of Ignar's kind of screwing up the plan, because everyone on FlyQuest should absolutely know Santorin's pathing. This shouldn't even be a question. They should know exactly what he's going to do before the game starts. Unless a different set of, like, some weird thing happens, or like a level 1 invade, or TL does something different. Someone screws up massively. But barring some massive screw up, Santorin's pathing should be pretty much not based on anything until level 3. So his level, so boom, 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 boom. I don't know why I added the extra boom on the mid lane. Uh, so he does the camps, but then Ignar hit a hook before Santorin was here. I mean, maybe that's just a setup. And he does he go for something here? He doesn't go for something. He's going for something now, but this is like super obvious, especially based on the timing, and based on the fact that Ignar is literally walking past the minions. So
I guess it's 2 for 2 overall because Turtle burned his heal as well.
Oh,
now Brox is actually weaker because he just isn't going to have as healthy of a path, especially for the fact that Santorin did one less camp, so also Broxa did not pop a potion throughout his clear, which did affect that. He actually ends up getting both because of this. Santorin could have gotten the Raptors. I'm convinced he could have gotten the Raptors. I feel like Raptors does not take 18 seconds to do. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I feel like it doesn't.
That's always one of those really scary moments to try to commit all the way forward to that because if the Volibear's behind them.
And now he's, I mean, Santorin's just like hard gapping Brox right now, by the way. This is like catastrophic start for Broxa. He has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to be. And I mean, the mid, we got like a kind of a snapshot of the mid lane. I'll go back to it, but just further on the jungle. So Santorin's gonna take these, or he's gonna kill 2 more of these, and walk away, reset, probably go back to the top side, and go Romp, Wolves, Raptors, Krugs, look for something bottom, maybe, maybe, or no, I think this makes the most sense. You want to go Romp, Wolves, and then if you need to cover something happening mid lane, you can move to mid lane. But generally, you're not going to see anything happen mid lane in that time, or you shouldn't. This ward is pretty much making it impossible for Brox to make any play happen. You should be very happy with this position. You know that Brox is probably going to be on the top side because you saw the camps that were cleared on this side. When he came in. So with that expectation, you know that there's nothing that Broxa can do because solo isn't really vulnerable. I guess you could argue he might be. And this is probably Brox is probably gonna do something. He's gonna like sweeper through this rye bush, and then look sad in this bush, and then walk over here, and then look sad because his raptors are gone, and then his camps are gonna finally reset back up on the bottom side. Meanwhile, Santorin is going to reset, go to Gromp Wolves. Again, look for something mid. If something happens that he needs to put attention to, then Raptors, Krugs, maybe look something bottom. If not, reset. Alternatively, also because of the fact that the dragon, the 5-minute timer on the dragon is going to be up, which if he resets takes the Gromp Wolves, he should, and especially with what he did here, he should be able to get his jungle item and boots some and control wards. Maybe not even. Math is too difficult right now. So, given all that, he's gonna path down here, cover this, or take it depending on the situation. Look, maybe see he can find something on the bottom side. Maybe Ignar hits a errant hook. and then should be pretty smooth sailing for Santorin. Barring some incredible gank or mistake by one of his laners. But also I wanted to kind of look back at the mid lane. We got a snapshot of it. I mean, everything seems to be going pretty whatever. So right now, Power of Evil is 1 charge on Corrupting Potion, and Jensen has two Corrupting Potion charges and a Biscuit. So while the current health values are like, oh, that's really good, Power of Evil's doing well, he's harassing Jensen, it's actually not the case. Jensen's just holding on to his potions in the event that he needs to use them for another trait at some point. And also, I'm pretty sure it would be a waste of some health. Maybe not, but he doesn't necessarily need the health at this exact moment.
Honestly, you should just be able to run straight through mid lane, help Power Wheel push it out if he needs it. Doesn't look like he does, and you just go straight up to the top side. So that is the advantage that he is going to get, is double scuttle, which always feels so good in the early game as a jungler here.
Actually,
take this fight back. My bot lane moves over, but it is still damage dealt. It is Turtle burn his heal as well.
Oh, Santorin actually.
I'm interested to see.
We can actually get chased down here potentially.
Okay. Damage goes in the brush. Says, if you want to face check this brush, I will stun you. You'll be hit by the storm, and we'll take this fight back. My bot lane moves over, but it is still damage dealt. Recall for Abraxa, as both junglers will take their 5th camp now. Santorin looking to get bottom scuttle, which will definitely help.
I was interested to see if there was a reaction by the mid laners that would have forced a specific kind of trade to happen. I couldn't tell. It doesn't look like there was really anything that strange. But here,
and it should be double scuttle. Honestly, you should just be able to run straight through mid lane, help Power Wheel.
I guess you could argue that maybe Jensen can play a little more aggressive, but
I
mean, he knows that Santorin is around, so he has to play onto this side of the lane. And so these minions that move down here, Raviel is allowed to kind of step a little far forward and kind of threaten Jensen. Although Jensen's not really under threat because he knows where Santorin's going to be walking through if he walks through here.
The ability of his bot lane to play aggressively, and he can look for more of this soon.
And it should be double scuttle, honestly. You should just be able to run straight through mid lane, help Power Wheel push it out if he needs it. Doesn't look like he does, and you just go straight up to the top side. So that is the advantage that he is going to get, is double scuttle, which always feels so good in the early game as a jungler here. I wonder, thinking back to that 2v2, could they have committed forward to the all-in?
As a matter of fact, it's possible. I'm going to keep going back on this. It's possible. He bounced the wave. Things were not going super great for Power of Evil at level 3.
We'll be hit by the storm, and we'll take this fight back. My bot lane moves over, but it is still damage dealt. It is recall forth.
I don't think the wave bounced.
Junglers will take their 5th camp now. Santorin looking to get bottom scuttle, which will definitely help. The ability of his bot lane to play aggressively, and he can look for more of this soon.
And it should be double scuttle.
It is also not feasible to get an early recall on Syndra, as far as I'm aware. So,
I wonder, thinking back to that 2v2, could they have committed forward to the all-in?
Well, not without losing. Not without losing out on experience and minions. So, okay. Everything's going fine.
If you're just walking around lethal tempo Ashe, you are going to eventually die there. Aftershock times out, and she's just throwing 1.3 attacks per second at you, and it's not going to go very well. But now another fight the top side.
Oh, I guess this works too. Oh wait, it doesn't work. He just gets a flash, and I don't know if he can get a return play on this. I feel like this is the lesser choice. Maybe you could argue that it helps solo potentially kill Impact later on in the lane, but I don't know if that's actually gonna. If it works, it works. Also, right there, by the way, this is why this matchup doesn't seem very good.
You can see that Broxa is going to move in, try to take back these Raptors, get a little something for Santorin showing on that top side. And this is important because you did lose double scuttle, and Broxa likely.
So also because of this, right? So. If Santorin doesn't reveal himself here, he goes back and he goes for wait.
GJ was CC'd, because if he doesn't have that to retreat back to, maybe
What happened mid lane that would have caused
really scary moments to try to commit.
Okay, he then just immediately uses his charge here.
Because if the Volibear is behind him, then you could just really live silly.
Yeah, because if you're just walking around lethal tempo Ashe, you are going to eventually die there. Aftershock times out, and she is just throwing, 1.3 attacks per second at you, and it's not going to go very well. But now in the fight in the top side is the jungler. Is coming.
Okay. Broxa does not go for a gank. He actually just immediately checks his Raptors. And because of the position of the mid lane, he kind of is allowed to just go to the Raptors immediately. Which is fine. Now the Raptors are level 1, whereas Santorin actually got a higher level Raptors, because Broxa did them on his first clear, so it actually is still to Santorin's benefit.
Especially because Santorin is now going towards the top side, and Broxa left that little Raptor. It's going to delay the respawn on those Raptors.
Maybe that's actually why he didn't do the Raptors.
We're going to see Graves run around his left side jungle going for wolves right now, and Broxa's feeling comfortable for a very, very early take. And despite the fact there's not a lot of ward coverage for this one, you can see if bot lane moves up, his lane's there. But
what's the speed on this? Just to kind of gauge where I was at. We're at 405.
Always one of those really scary moments to try to. But now, really good. This is important as you can, and especially Santorin quite a lot.
Big deal there. We're gonna see Graves run around his left side jungle going for wolves right now. And
yeah, I don't like the top side gank. I think it was a mistake. At this point, he says, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to make this play. And obviously, Ashe makes these kinds of things difficult. But, and this is really important, Ashe is not, the map hacks isn't actually as high value against Santorin, because Santorin's job is to track Broxa. Now, you could argue, I guess, that Broxa could use this information to then gank a lane because Santorin's not around it. But it would be higher value if the Ashe was looking out for something like Volibear. So something that's actually going to gank a lane and try to impact early is something that is way higher value for Ashe to find than a farming jungler, who at most wants to just match and counter the ganks. And I guess he did go for a topside gank, but generally is going to be looking to farm more efficiently than anything else. So the dragon's down, which tells everyone where Broxa was. He's on the bottom side. It really just confirms it. It's more so a confirmation. And Torn probably should be looking for the Krugs, hoping that he doesn't know the Raptor timer, by the way, which maybe, no, I guess there's no extra gain from that, right? You get the extra Raptors, and then you get the timer, so you'll know generally when it's up. But you have a general idea of when it's going to be up anyway. Even though you haven't seen Broxa in a while, you know generally when it's going to be up. Then Santorin does this.
I've got to say, Jensen's doing a really nice job in this lane. He's up 10 CS right now. There's
so Santorin could have just strangled Broxa, but ends up being about evened up now. Nothing's really lost or gained in the jungle. Power of Evil has used his teleport. Jensen has also used his teleport. This happened a bit ago. Jensen, what's his face? Okay. Power of Evil, killing minions again, going to the blue. The cannon goes onto the tower, so it shouldn't be lost. Ignard uses that for souls, I guess. Fine.
Yep. Not being pressured too heavily, and the kind of farm advantage that is down in this bottom lane for FlyQuest is they will have all these extra minions to pick up. Pretty much equalizes what's going on in the mid lane.
Okay. This is about where I think the lane is probably going to end up being. This is just annoying for Santorin, but it's not necessarily the worst. But you do also know his camps. What did he do? Wait. Oh, because of the way that he took the camps, they weren't up when he was taking blue. Maybe you should have gone for the camps instead of the top lane gank. That's hindsight, though.
Jensen doing well.
I don't think that the top
This middle
side
lane,
gank
I feel like
is
the most variance in
likely to get
this series
anything.
out of almost any champion.
And I
Those
mean,
kind of
the
lane focus,
flash is actually almost
combo
up.
plus
If they go for
lethal tempo,
a
and then
top
have,
side
the other
dive,
system, which is kind of the lethal tempo
then
for
I'll
the
eat my
matches. So we
words,
have all
but
these
I
different
don't
middle grounds,
think
like
we're
Jensen's
gonna
going
see
for
the
combo,
value
which
come
comes
from
lane,
that
but then
gank.
Nationals, which goes for team fight. You have some people that will go lethal tempo and pick up a lost chapter and not complete it. There's all these different variations, which I always think is pretty cool to watch and to see a little bit into the thought process of these players.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Right now that we're seeing just Nash's rush really across the board in these players, and all the range matchups in common. Regardless, bot has been pushed in now. Team Liquid looking for a bit more map control in the 7th map. Nothing to fight for, but it does allow them to make sure they control Tri-Bush, which they do. Shove down the wave, and yeah, it's going to remain 10 CSD as we cross 9 minutes. The top side, he got kind of the same score going on here.
Okay, Santorin getting the Wolves and then Gromp, and then looking for the Scuttle. I hope he goes for Scuttle before he goes for that Herald.
Yeah, and generally speaking, Orin can compete.
It is
at low
the
levels
more
against
likely
obviously extended
objective.
trades.
Okay,
They find Jensen here.
Scuttle actually spawns before he can do Gromp. Then they kind of go for a 2v2 here, but they immediately get on top of Jensen, like Jensen just corners himself. That was like the easiest possible stun. Uses the not the shuffle, I guess the shuffle. I guess it's a shuffle. But uses the shield from his E to survive. Then Santorin starts this up. But they should know that this is happening. I don't know why Wild Turtle's moving, by the way. This seems really wrong. Because Wild Turtle's already late on the play. You see Core JJ. You don't know where Ash is. You have to assume that Ash is already moving. Just stick around and get plates and gold minions. Gold from the plates, but also from the minions, and experience from the minions. And I mean, yeah, Jensen's out of it. But make sure that they're out of it. You know, make sure that TL have seeded the Herald before you start the Herald. I feel like they kind of just jumped the gun. They were like, all right, Jensen's out of the fight. He's not going to come back. Doesn't have teleport. We'll take the crab and we'll just slide over here and take this Herald nice and easy. But it wasn't really... I feel like it didn't play out that well. I mean, I guess they're forcing the issue. And they saw the Ash, and they just get the hook anyway. Alright, what am I even saying? I guess you could argue that they kind of baited them in. Okay, Impact is...
Yeah, Brox, I don't think
that flash didn't come in. That flash didn't come in. He has his flash up. If he went for that play just before the flash went down, I'd be like, never mind, he's a genius. Fortunately, that didn't end up working that way. Oh, that is disorienting. Okay. It was like really surprising to me. Anyway, how did they screw this up? Did they screw it up, or did they just get hooked? I mean, they just got hooked, but... So he just immediately starts it. They see tactical.
Get pretty much back to full, and they will fight.
Ignore does make this difficult.
Can they get the rest? That's gonna be the Jin snipe. They made it easy for him. Here you go, moving a straight line, take it there.
There's in a portal.
Solo and Impact doing battle. Ulti coming across. Impact wants the stun, finds it, buys some time, has to flash away from the queue.
Yeah, Brox, I don't think he thought that through when he jumped into the portal, because that's a can't miss. There's no way you're gonna miss that. There's Giant Bear flying through the magical portal. Lined himself up there for Wild Turtle, and Wild Turtle on the...
I mean, to be fair, someone else could have blocked it. Wait, let's look at this.
Big hook on Bull Bear CC chain finally ult out. Can they get the rest? That's gonna be the Jin.
Like if Tactical goes in second,
pretty much back and forth, and they will fight.
Big hook on Bull Bear.
Like he was given the portal and then Tactical went through the portal first. Should have gone through the portal second. Then he would have. Then they both would have survived. Not really that big of a deal.
There's in a portal. Solo and Impact flying through the magical portal. Lined himself
Then they
up
get
there
this.
for Wild Turtle.
I guess it was free. I guess it was free for the moment that I don't know. Shouldn't you be saving a hawk shot for this exact moment? By the way, do you not have hawk shot right now?
Jensen doesn't actually lose any cooldowns, just most of his health bar.
Okay. You have the scrying bloom for that.
Up. He chugged all his biscuits. He's already taken 2 of those flash charges, so he's just gonna stay.
I mean, I can't tell if he has a hawk shot, but he also kind of walked really close to a Thresh.
They made it easy for him. Here you go, moving in a straight line, take it there.
There's in a portal.
Solo and Impact doing battle. Ulti coming across. Impact wants the stun, finds it, buys some time, has to flash away from the queue.
Yeah, Brox, I don't think he thought that through when he jumped into the portal, because that's a can't miss. There's no way you're gonna miss that. There's giant bear flying through the magical portal.
And by the way, I'm 90% sure Solo could have killed him. If he anticipated the flash Q, the Q goes with him, so he could have killed him there. You can flash, because he was already decently far, right? Where he was.
Solo and Impact doing battle. Ulti coming across. Impact wants the stun, finds it.
Yeah. If you can anticipate the direction of the flash, I mean, Impact should probably be flashing somewhere else than literally just forward, because that's the easiest possible way to just get flashed back onto and then dying. But fine, flashes this way, gets out. Even more likely than if he flashes here. If he flashes here, then Solo, I believe, can flash, and then even if Impact doesn't flash, or if it's close or whatever, he guarantees it because he's literally on top of him, or he flashes and then tip of the Q will kill Impact. By the way,
Yeah, Brox, I don't think he thought that through when he
again, if that happened just before that flash came back on cooldown, I'd be singing Santorin's praises.
On a hunting trip here, finds Broxa as he gets hooked in, ignited straight into the box. Nice combo. The magical journey's dropped there for JJ, and then look at it right down, right in the butt. Broxa gets knocked down.
Yep.
That's gotta hurt.
Technically, I think J should have delayed his pull. Said, okay, Volley, come on in. I'll come right behind you. That would have blocked the shot. So, rare misplay from the, I believe, reigning MVP. Actually, no, not from last split, but from before. Last year's Summer MVP. And now we're going to see what can happen here. 1,500 gold lead for FlyQuest. They are down the first break, and Brox wants the second.
It looks like he's going to get it. We just don't even see FlyQuest making a move over. I'm honestly really surprised that they're the ones kind of sitting on the back foot as far as these dragons go. Team Liquid has been able to set up very well around this. You know, FlyQuest has not seemed to be interested in fighting for it, but it is.
Technically, I think J should have delayed.
Lined himself up there for Wild Turtle, and Wild Turtle on a hunt.
I mean, the replay comes, and then I don't know necessarily. I mean, the setup is obviously not there because they're resetting from the. Okay, Santorin has this. I guess he reset into. He's walking this way, I guess. So maybe they might be looking to. They might have actually looked for Dragon, maybe.
Rare misplay from the, I believe, reigning MVP. No, not from last split, but from before. Last year's Summer MVP. And now we're going to see what can happen here. 1,500 gold lead for.
I guess they're just not interested in it.
It looks like he's going to get it. We just don't even see FlyQuest making.
I feel like it's weird to win the Herald fight and be like, yeah, we got Herald, and then be like, we can give the Dragon. I guess there's more. I mean, they don't have ultimates, right? On FlyQuest, so maybe that's their consideration. And Jensen does still have his Divide. There's still the Enchanted Crystal Era. There's still Tempered Fate. So yeah, I guess. Although arguably those could have been used in the previous fight. Well, not the Emperor's Divide, but if these are used in the fights, in that fight, it might have turned differently, and it wouldn't have just been Broxa basically having to face check. Again, I don't know why they didn't have a hawk shot available. That probably needs to be. Always need to conserve at least one for situations like that. I guess you could argue that's hindsight, but I feel like if grim enough, you'd know. It might have just it might have been up, and it was just a case of he just didn't use it. It was just a quite stressful situation. Understandable. Okay. Not really able to do anything bottom. I don't know why. Torn's a lot of time. Wait, when did that Gromp die? Who killed the Gromp? Wait, was that Gromp alive? Am I crazy? Wait. Oh, he went, okay. He went top side, and then he goes down bottom. He goes back bottom. Wait. Oh, he uses the.
As far as these dragons do go.
I like
Team Liquid's been set up very well
like
around this.
skipped
Request
over
is not
the
seeing
blue, and I was
much
like, what happened?
But it is surprising to see the
Okay.
team, you know, with the Syndra and the Graves and whatnot, being the ones who want to sit back and give up early dragons to Azir Ornn, right? That
Oh,
I think
fine.
is very concerning.
All right, 1,400 gold difference, but 2 Drakes makes it up. Infernal Soul is going to be the map, so goodbye to some of the brush. More avenues to walk
Maybe he
around.
did use it, and I just like couldn't
Rush
see
Cap's
it.
gonna be really spicy.
I'm like trying to understand if I must have missed it. I feel like he would have held on to it.
If it happens, it's 20 minutes in the making on the FlyQuest side, or only 10 for Team Liquid. And hey, they wouldn't mind some bursts. There's a couple of squishes that they can go for. Really, only, I mean, really, no one is going to be that tank on the FlyQuest side. Thresh support.
Or
yeah,
would have
but
had
without
a
that,
charge
it's,
of it.
frail.
And maybe they were just looking. Maybe they might have greeted for it. They might have said, "All right, we can just use the red trinket to look around and kind of face check areas without face checking," but they underestimated the catch potential on Thresh. Maybe. Maybe it wasn't necessarily a tactical exclusive mistake.
Booper on the fights pretty well, and maybe cut away the Volibear and the Ash and whatnot. Nice sidestep, Capsule keeps safe, keeps the farm going. But still, we keep the 10 and actually more like 13 farm lead for Turtle in the bottom lane, so well done there.
Either way, not that problematic because it's just. I mean, it's just what 1.4K. This isn't that big of a deal. TL scales significantly better.
And it looks like it's going to be top here. They're trying to play away from the Bard, remember, because of his Bard interaction. Look at JJ. He was actually anticipating this. He was already heading towards top. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be too late because it is rank 1 of that Bard ultimate. Very short range. He won't get here in time, but you can see that he was expecting it. There's just as good of an advantage, really, for Jensen over here in that mid lane. Potentially even more, depending on how much of this our people will pick up. We still have that Rift Herald over on Santorin, so we'll see what he can game sense.
That is the game. The 10 and actually more like 13 farm lead for Turtle in the bottom lane, so well done there.
Very nicely done. Up two.
Otherwise, components. No CDR.
Really out of.
I'm trying to figure out when the last time. Okay, right here they saw him. Right, this is the last time they saw Core JJ, by the way.
By Turtle, he has Stormrazor done, whereas Tactical is on move speed.
Or I mean, he clears out wards here, right?
Pretty well, and maybe cut away
Clears out wards, clearing out wards,
sidestep, Capsule keeps safe, keeps the farm going.
and that's the last time, right there.
But still, we keep the 10.
So now he is in Fog of War. Core JJ stays in Fog of War this entire time.
And actually more like 13 farm lead for Turtle in the bottom lane, so well done there.
Very nicely done. Up two waves. You're going to be pretty happy.
And Doran is like beelining it up to top. So this might be a case of I need to just do this as fast as possible while he might be messing around in the bottom lane. Arguably,
And actually more like 13 farm
what did he end up doing?
well done there.
Very nicely done. Up two waves.
What did Core JJ do?
But at the same time, there's just as good of an advantage, really, for Jensen over here in that mid lane. Potentially even more, depending on how much of this our people will pick up.
They also don't really necessarily know where Santorin's going, but given the state of mid lane and given the state of bottom lane, you can imagine that the best place is top side. For some reason, by the way, it's going very, very well for the Mordekaiser. He has 2 plates on Ornn. I mean, he did almost just solo kill him, so fair play.
Up. We still have that Rift Herald over on Santorin, so we'll see what he can get done with this. I want to see him drop it, and it looks like it's going to be top here. They're trying to play away from the Bard, remember, because of his Bard interaction. Look at JJ. He was actually anticipating this. He was already heading towards top. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be too late because it is rank 1 of that Bard ultimate. Very short
JJ
here in time, but you can
is potentially able to do this if he doesn't go for that control ward behind the red buff. He is potentially able to save this tower. Or save the plates. He's not. The tower is not actually. Really shouldn't be in danger. Probably should be. Because when you give long lanes like this, you allow a scaling team to like do whatever they want, right? Oh, wrong cursor.
You can see that he was expecting it.
Yeah. I mean, that play was 10 seconds off, right?
That's some game sense.
That is some game sense. And to be fair, that is the turret with the least plates left. Only had 3 there. Solo will have a fairly hard time soloing the last.
Santorin gets it. I mean, he literally beelined it. He was like, I have to do this. I know where Core JJ was. He's probably going to move up as soon as he can, and I'm going to have to.
To be clear, he got better. He was not as good as
blaming him in this anecdote.
Because I suck at going into tangents. Regardless, the man named himself after solo laning. It's impossible to not pun his mechanics and the moves he makes in the map.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyway, he's a very good top laner.
Yep. Freak, ladies and gentlemen.
Things are going well.
All right. On to the next point here. Down to the bottom lane. FlyQuest looking to continue this push.
Full item completion on. Why? Wait. Why does Impact have a Balmy Cinder along with? Couldn't he have completed? Isn't it higher value to get? Maybe there's something. Maybe. He doesn't actually need to clear the wave. I don't think that Bombing Cinder necessarily helps. It might help in some situations under tower, getting minions. But I feel like the more valuable play is to get is to use that gold with your extra magical boots here, with his 3 extra movement speed boots from his runes, and turn it into Merc Treads. Now he probably got this more recently than, yeah, fairly recently actually. The investment on the I guess Bombing Cinder is like a, yeah. Now I don't know the item completion amount for yeah, it's fine. He probably could have gone. Wait.
To be fair, his screen name was the Solo King. Like he's like, look, I'm a top laner. I'm really good in his mind back then. And
Does he just
he got better.
replace
To
his
be
control
clear,
word
he got better.
at some point? Yeah.
He was not as good as he is
blaming
now.
him in this anecdote.
Then he gets his boots. No, I guess if you, yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I get it. He wants to use his gold because he would have extra gold. If he didn't have the Bombing Cinder, he would actually have just a bunch of extra gold in his inventory for no reason. So he's using it. He has a Bombing Cinder because it's all he could have actually gotten
Anyway, he's a very good top laner.
without using up too many slots, because he needs a slot for the control ward. He needs an open slot to get his boots.
FlyQuest looking to continue this push, but not really much threat.
Because the other option is to hold on to the Ruby Crystal and get Loki thing, the mantle. No, not the mantle. Yes, the mantle. Can't even remember the names of items now. If he sits on those two, then he can't get control wards, and he doesn't collect his boots when he uses the control ward. Now, of course, he can also just finish up the... Okay, so this is just permanently frozen, by the way. Where does it end up?
It's going to be the move towards Dragon in about a minute. Huge.
Yeah, that's permanently frozen. If he doesn't have Bombing Cinder, it's absolutely, like, it's not moving.
Massive gold lead now on the top lane side. He is the gold winner of this game overall. Turtle up pretty solid.
I guess you could argue he doesn't need the control ward, and then if that's the argument, then I guess he could go the Ruby Crystal into what's the face?
So this is one of those scenarios where
Null Magic
this is what you have built
without having to
and trying to crush Team Liquid at this point in the game and putting them
do anything, and then he can complete the Abyssal Mask while he's in lane, and then he'll get the boots, and then he can also get the Merc Treads seamlessly. Or I guess he could complete the boots and then get the whatever, it doesn't matter. This dragon is going to be contested. Maybe TL just give. Very... I mean, he literally just ran into a hook. Impact. Why don't you just give that? I mean, think about the situation that they were just in. So they lose top tower, right? He has Bombing Cinder. This could be permanently frozen forever. He doesn't have... He has Bombing Cinder, so it's going to be held for as long as he can. So, Solo has literally no purpose being here, because he cannot actually hit the minions without putting himself in danger, potentially. If you give the dragon, if you give the third dragon over to FlyQuest, just flat out, just we don't want it. Because it's spawning in 50 seconds, or 56 seconds, at this point in the game. And you say, well, we can't really contest because don't have... Orin doesn't have his items. We just have a Cinder Hulk on our Polar Bear, only an Asher's, no Essence Reaver on our Ashe, while they have Storm Razor, Ludens, Leandries. All of the items on FlyQuest are higher value at 1 than anything that... let's think about this. One item, Let's assume all of them are even. Who has better value at one item? That's a Leandris. Really good. That's a Serrated Dirk along with Warriors. Pretty strong. Luden's Echo. It's a lot of burst damage. Storm Razor. Ooh. That doesn't matter. Abyssal Mask. Pretty good. Pretty good. But he could be better because it's Ornn. So he could just give himself 3,000 extra gold for no reason. If you wait on it, you wait for your items, pretty sure Jensen would rather have his 2 items. Pretty sure Ornn would rather have his 2 items. Tactical would like an item. He only has components right now. He might actually have the necessary gold for it, by the way. But I don't know if he might back here, and then he'll just have Assassin's Reaver for the fight. He will not have Assassin's Reaver for this fight.
And now FlyQuest has to hope that all the work they did towards getting gold instead of objectives.
Yeah. So here's what should have happened. Yeah. Okay. Here's what actually should have happened. Impact holds the wave after losing the tower. So now this is a dead lane. Dead. No one can farm this lane except for Impact for the next several seconds. Solo is going to then mosey on over to the dragon, right? He's not going to have a purpose because TL are not going to contest. So he's just going to sit here, S5, they're going to do this dragon. He might do the Scuttle Crab too. So he goes up here, kills the Scuttle Crab, walks down over to the dragon. Meanwhile, Impact is getting the next, 2.5 waves, and it'll finally shove in to the solo, to the Mordekaiser. Alternatively, once Mordekaiser shows himself here, and you can use Hawkshot to prove the location of every champion being at the dragon, you can then hard shove the wave and then reset if you need to. You can, which also then would allow you to, which then provides you to put your Azir topside, so he can permanently freeze the top lane. You put your Ornn down here because this is going to get ping-ponged back and forth because they're only the 2 towers are here. They're just going to keep going back and forth between these 2 towers. And then you put Tactical and Core JJ, and Brox's going to be in the jungle, and Broxa, assign them to the mid lane. So you have your lane assignments from the 3rd dragon. You don't lose anyone. You're not going for a contest that seems really, really poor anyway. And you potentially deny minions to Mordekaiser. Or you could do what TL did and
So this is
you could
that is really going to pay off. And this is kind of
could walk into Thresh Hook.
Everyone is going to play for Dragon Soul.
Ready for that?
Do you invest resources early?
Oh, and we can teleport. Ooh, we can teleport. Ooh, that's even better. Look at that. Look at that. They have 2 dragons already. They should feel great. They should feel so good about the game.
Flash used by Turtle to stay safe. Re-engage comes in, shots to the wall. Impact the target. Easily shot, easily killed. 2 snipes from the Canadian sniper. While Turtle takes him down. Tanks on the board, gets the money, and they get the Drake as well.
Nicely done. Not even close on that team fight. They did get the flashes, from that Bard ultimate. They got that one off of Turtle, but not able to amount to anything after that, as they really couldn't get any sort of presence in that.
Oh yeah, and the Rift Herald spawned too.
So FlyQuest not only wins team fight, takes the dragon.
Didn't even notice that.
And now they're going to turn this into another Rift Herald, which could be even more of a gold advantage. And no one's down to the bottom side to actually answer Solo, who could get a lot of damage down on this turret.
Wait. How much? Wait, was that up? When was that up? When did that spawn? It spawned basically at the same time?
And then you're hoping that is really going to pay off. And this is kind of the 2 schools
When did it
work around Dragon Soul. Everyone is going to play for Dragon Soul. It's just a matter of, do you invest your resources early instead of farming for gold, or do you wait and delay that to
when did it spawn?
Alive in 2 seconds, TV's come across.
Was it literally identical?
Ult's all available. Summoner's available on most. PoE without flash. And here comes the attack.
Okay. So the spectator does not have an indication of the herald. However, they do. They just hit tab. It's at the top. Why did they contest this when you know that FlyQuest are here? They're going to be here. You know. You already know. You have. You know. You know. Go over here. At least force them to split. And then maybe you can get a pick off with Broxa and Tactical and Core JJ on the top side. Because they should be transferring to the mid lane anyway.
Attempted play. Stun not going to land just yet, but it's being started. Santorin level 9. Same for Broxton near sight. Jump in the front line. Solo caught out by Peppered Fate. TP, or sorry, flash used by Turtle to stay safe. Re-engage comes in. Shots to the wall. Impact the target. Easily shot, easily killed. 2 snipes from the Canadian sniper. While
Is really going to pay off.
Just for the record, this is a 2.6k lead for FlyQuest, right? What caused that? They're at 2k here, and they get the extra gold. So 2k because that. What? Wait. Wait. What? Huh? What happened? Now I have to go. He's just been 20 seconds behind the whole game? He was fine here. Huh?
But then the Nationals was better for team fight. On for this middle ground, I feel like there's the most variance in
what happened?
the Zero builds out of almost any champion. You know, you have the most kind of lane focus, which is Comet plus.
I mean, look at the
and then you
health
have,
values,
the other
maybe.
end of the spectrum, which is kind of the lethal tempo, straight rush and Ashers, and then you have all these different middle grounds. Like Jensen is going for Comet, which is kind of strong for laning, but then
What is going on?
You have some people that will go lethal tempo.
Okay, no, he's getting pushed back. Okay, that's fine.
Which I always think is pretty cool to watch and to see a little bit into the thought process of these players.
yeah, definitely interesting. Right now that we're seeing just Nash's rush really across the board on these players, and in all the range matchups, some Comet.
Okay. 10 CS isn't bad. Whatever. Happens. Okay.
In the early levels against Mordekaiser, if you don't take really silly extended traits, is Power View may find Jen.
Good as well. And Abyssal Mask is next in about 1,000. That's the ulti, and Brox is down the front line.
Okay, 10 CS is still the same.
It's just gonna stay. And with
That's gonna be the Jin doing battle. Ulti coming across. Impact wants the stun, finds it, buys some time.
Oh.
he jumped into the portal
Because the minions that this discrepancy is going to. Okay.
that's a kid.
Okay.
It's knocked down.
Yep.
That's got
Rare misplay. See what can happen here.
Maybe if we just take into consideration that the two laners are like have had their resources kind of shuffled, maybe it's actually not egregious.
Making the FlyQuest side. Rush support.
have their poke matter more. You know,
Yeah. I think that's actually what happened.
Keeps the farm going, but still we keep the.
Yeah, that's fine.
about that more, depending on
This became a lot more fun as I reasoned through it.
That play was 10 seconds. Solo laner. I mean,
Still think they should have gone for the Herald.
you do this push where you just throw your ult. Even just sweeping that out, his jungle wasn't there, but it
Especially because Solo didn't even go for the grab.
WQ gets a little cooldown in about a minute. Huge, massive.
They have
Why didn't he go for the crab?
They almost had 3 of the 3. Now they do.
Yeah, they do,
So this is one of those scenarios where you must win this fight, really, as FlyQuest. This is what you have built towards. You have built towards being in a stronger position and trying to crush Team Liquid at this point in the game. And
He
putting
backed
so
and
far behind
teleported.
the gold, delaying their chance at a rush towards Soul, and then you're hoping that is really going to.
Oh no, he walked. He walked.
Gold, or do you wait and delay that to the dragon as FlyQuest did?
Alive in 2 seconds. TV's come across. Rank 2 ultis on several members here. Ults all available.
So, yeah. I don't even know why I
Summoners
paused.
available on most. PoE without flash. And here comes the attempted
TL should not be contesting this dragon. They should be looking to split the map or look for their lane assignments already, which allows them to start setting up their lanes how they want it.
Nicely done. Not even close on that team fight. They did get the
They also
focus,
could have
from that part of
positioned around the Herald if they really thought about it.
After that is they really
Or I guess they
get
probably did think about
sort
it,
of
but
presence in
they
the game where
just
couldn't cut
they
into
went for
it.
the dragon because obviously it's a soul point, which is bigger, more important. But because they're the scaling composition, they don't necessarily need to go for that. Regardless.
He's building towards the Nashers. He has this stinger, so the added attack speed does really help. Go for it.
Okay, easily smited away, and this time around, it's FlyQuest time. They pretty much switched strategies, interestingly enough. It was so much in the first few games, FlyQuest stacking early Drakes, Team Liquid getting Double Herald and trying to play around that. And this time around, FlyQuest for the ones getting Double
Why
Herald.
did why did Tactical
This time
go?
around, it's FlyQuest time.
The attack speed does really sort of a presence in that river. They couldn't cut into. Nicely done. Not even close on that team fight. They did get. Really couldn't get any sort of a presence in that river. They couldn't.
Okay,
cut
Jensen
into
stays
FlyQuest and move through those corridors. So FlyQuest not
mid.
team fight takes the dragon. They get a kill.
By the way,
Turn this into
the two top laners left the lane in a neutral state, which isn't necessarily beneficial to anyone, I don't think. And given the fact that Impact had the control necessary to decide how that lane was going to be, I would imagine that you'd characterize that as a mistake on his part.
This time around, FlyQuest for the ones getting Double Herald and going for turret pressure. So far, so good. The gold lead, 3,500, looking to make that 4K once the Herald takes a turret down.
Okay, so they just made TL made the game significantly more difficult for themselves. That's really unfortunate.
Catches the farm, 14 CSD across the 80 carries. We'll see now as the mid-game moves around what's going to happen next. Barons have been 2 minutes, and not quickly killed, though, by either team.
And I do really like the build here from Solo going Nashers because you may be relied upon to kill the frontliners off. And going Landry's Nashers, that's really the best 2 items you can have to actually threaten Impact and Broxa as far as the consistent damage in these fights. It really is very, very powerful. Santorin is going lethality. You know, it may just be a pit stop here for the additional vision control with this lethality item. I don't really want to see him go more than that because you're likely going to be hitting frontline. But, oh, nice try.
I mean, at this point, a lot of the discrepancy is the CS values.
I don't think that you have enough backline access as a Graves against double frontliners to really warrant going full lethality. So I wouldn't want to see him going further than this.
Not entirely sure why Jensen is still mid.
But Solo is going to ult Impact or Broxa almost every single fight, and he's going to win that fight every time.
I feel like he holds top lane better.
Plus
Plus he has teleport and tactical doesn't, so if he's in a side lane he isn't actually benefited. But Jensen can also get the Raptors. So there's that.
His armor pen often comes in fairly late because he's almost always going Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon, and IE third. So, you know, once the
Seems to be a resource decision to push the resources onto Jensen. But given the fact that you could have just evened out the gold values on the bottom laners, while not necessarily losing out value on the mid laner, I feel like Jensen definitely should just be top side anyway, but maybe I'm missing
my guess is it's going to be Cleaver, and then it's
important piece of
the
the...
with this first bit of lethality, especially just because this item is just so ridiculously strong for vision control, right? You know, even lethality be damned, it's a cheap item, it's very easy to complete alongside Warrior for a quick 2 items, and then especially as Graves, it's actually really difficult sometimes to clear out. You know, the
Okay, Broxa has no camps to take. Obviously, that blue buff is not his. So, I mean, if the Raptors aren't even his, the blue buff definitely isn't.
Yep, it means a lot.
Very nice. So,
okay, he at least doesn't tank it like the jungle boy.
Very effectively is the farm leader in the game by about 20. And we'll push back here, but working towards that Nasher is going to be a strong second item.
Like the jungle boy? What the hell does that mean? The jungle boy.
Let's pop Spellbinder. It's better than what Deathcap would have done. Let's go. And so it's really good for those specific scenarios. You know, slightly worse overall long-term wave clear if you don't hit breakpoints, but you can see, like if this were, you know, a bit more AP, yeah, then he was dead, but he autos once and he's losing no time on the push.
Yeah. The other wrinkle with Spellbinder is honestly just a lot harder to use, and sometimes you see people either just using it early in the fight to try to get range, and they don't.
What did he just buy a Leandry's? Oh no, he had Haunting Guys and he went finish his Leandry's. Now they can fight. Now they want to fight. But the game has become a lot harder for them. Because if they fought here in a 2,000 gold game, 3,000 gold game, much easier. 4,000 gold game, that's pretty harsh. They also keep getting hooked. Okay, that's a lot of people. They can't really claim Ignore. Alright, there's the Tempered Fate onto... Wait. Wait. What did I just watch? Wait. What did Broxa do? Okay, forget all of that. What did Broxa do? Okay. Oh, right, because... Okay, Mordekaiser. Right, okay. I was like, what did he just... What? He just randomly flashes over the wall? Okay, no, Mordekaiser. Okay, but let's actually look at the fight. I got so distracted by what Broxa did and I couldn't figure out what happened. I get hooked. Not really able to capitalize on Impact's ultimate. Broxa manages to sit tight. Broxa walks into Turtle. They actually end up
Their
getting
sights
Core
stops
JJ,
from Jensen,
but
and FlyQuest live with 1-3-0, but Ignar has 5 health to his name. Impact forced to walk backwards. Health bar lead honestly is TL's, and Infernal Break
Jensen holding on to his ultimate for next game, I
Jensen
guess?
still has flash and
Next
ult as
series?
well. And with Turtle this low, it is pretty risky. He
Right back out, but Turtle's
Not like
unfazed.
it's
He
the
can
most
go for the
ideal
play. TP in for more
stream to stream a shuffle into this team, but it's definitely completely possible. Pretty sure there's avenue. Hold on.
early in the fight.
Start. Let's go to from the very beginning.
Trails off very quickly because
Let's.
of decay. Or
You know what?
honestly, a lot of
I'll
these
even slow it down.
They don't actually get it off at the
Just for this
times
fight.
in the fight. So it does
That's gonna
require
look like
you
it's
to be a
molasses.
lot better about that flat move speed
Okay.
on it when compared to Death
They
Cap.
get the
He's definitely a
bottom
guy that likes to
tower.
think about his own
Core JJ
play.
gets hooked.
Good damage, but here comes the Ornage. Could be 3-man stun.
Roxa,
It's on 2, though.
I
Ignar
guess,
forced to walk back, turns
he
stop.
backs off a
Is there
bit.
more engage? Is there a
Then you
play?
get the
TP in for
Ornn
Mordekaiser.
ultimate. Emperor
Right in
Fate
front line.
falls on to Wild Turtle, so he's not really part of it. Jensen is super far back.
Turn stop.
Why is he so far back?
Engage. Is there a play?
What did he
TP in
do?
for Mordekaiser.
What? Okay. So if we're okay, if we're aggressing onto a fight, right? We get hooked, and we're like, all right, we'll fight. Why are we running away? Like, huh? To be fair, Jensen doesn't have any real way of protecting himself. So if he gets interrupted during his combination, I believe he'll just be dead. So there's that. But I wonder, what do power people do? Okay, his Scatter of the Weak is gone. Yeah, he doesn't have that right now. He was at 21, 32, 33.
Here comes the Ornage. Could be 3-man stun. It's on 2, though.
Yeah,
Ignar forced to walk
he doesn't
back.
have that.
Stopwatch. Is there a re-engage? Is there a play? TP in for Mordekaiser.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Right.
that. He can't stop you.
Though Ignar forced to walk back, turn stopwatch. Is there a re-engage? Is there a play? TP in for Mordekaiser.
Also, Ignar used both of his abilities.
Likes to think about his own ideals.
Oh no, he didn't flay. He didn't flay.
The Ornage could be 3-man stun. It's on 2, though.
That might have been. I mean, Jensen still has flash though. I think it's possible for Jensen to make a hero play here. Now, do you really want to be in a situation where you have to make a hero play? No. I think it's possible.
Ignar forced to walk back, turn stopwatch. Is there a re-engage?
And I don't necessarily know if the execution is high enough that you can argue that he can't. Also, he kind of decided that instead of being in danger of people who actually aren't threatening to him, because he doesn't have Scatter of the Weak, he doesn't have Death Sentence, I guess he could. I mean, he can't actually stop you from doing anything. He does have Flay, to be fair, so there's a Flay. But instead of going to people who aren't necessarily threatening, he runs to the other side of this wall to fight someone who is potentially threatening. Because now he doesn't have his escape. So if Mordekaiser decides to ult Azir, he's potentially dead. No, he still has his Emperor's vibe. So that's dumb. But you'll still be forced to use your abilities here against Mordekaiser instead of against the opposing team. Like the whole team here. And then you can deal with Mordekaiser after. We actually saw in a similar spot because it's the reverse image here, right? In the previous game or in another previous game, FlyQuest, where Power of Evil did a shuffle in about the same spot. It was just the reverse, so it would be this direction, right? It is. I think it's just unfair for me to harp on it. He could have done something, but it's probably too much. It's too much to expect.
He's going to be attacked for the 1-for-0 so far. Near sight stops damage from Jensen.
I think Jensen could have done something.
But Ignar has 5 health to his name. Impact forced to walk backwards.
Yeah.
Health bar
But it might be too much to expect.
Ignar kills a ward and can really only play for lanterns now as TL wants to do more.
Yeah, Jensen still has flash and ultimate as well. And with Turtle this low, it is pretty risky. He does have a little bit of lifesteal with his runes. You know, his fleet and his heal is still up, so they're going to stay around. They're going to send Ignar back to base and try to just play this a little bit more slowly, see if they can get healed up and find a good angle to take this.
The scuttle's pretty big. It gives Turtle health and mana back. It lets them see what TL's doing the whole time. Power of Evil feels safe to do
Wait,
this.
what did he use his... Wait. What did Power of Evil use his ult on?
He's going to be play going to be. Can't get him just yet. Goes through. Finds
Or JJ, right?
Right back out, but Turtle's on out of it. How good is play going to be?
Yeah.
Can't get him just yet. Goes through. Finds JJ. Flash right back out, but Turtle's on danger.
I guess he does it to guarantee the kill.
So far. Near sight stops damage from Jensen, and FlyQuest live with a 1-for-0. But Ignar has 5 health to his name. Impact forced to walk backwards. Health bar lead with a 1-for-0. But Ignar 0 so far. Near through. Finds JJ. Flash right back out, but Turtle's on danger. He's going to be attacked for the 1-for-0 so far. Near sight stops damage from Jensen, and FlyQuest live with a 1-for-0. But Ignar has 5 health to his name. Impact forced to walk backwards. Health bar lead honestly is TL's, and Infernal Drake is alive. Ignar kills a ward and can really only play for lanterns now as TL wants to do more.
Yeah, Jensen still has flash and ultimate as well. And with Turtle this low, it is pretty risky. He does have a little bit of lifesteal with his runes. You know, his fleet and his heal is still up, so they're going to stay around. They're going to send Ignar back to base and try to just play this a little bit more slowly, see if they can get healed up and find a good angle to take this.
The scuttle's pretty big. It gives Turtle health and mana back. It lets them see what TL's doing the whole time. Power of Evil feels safe to do this. Santorin going to get his health back up, taking down the Raptor King.
What can
as Ignar
Fly...
has called and walked back with
I feel like Fly can't let this slide, right? This is their biggest power point. They really need to make sure that they, well, it's actually kind of, we're kind of cresting their biggest power point, but they really don't want to let this dragon go through, because the longer they can maintain this lead and not give TL their soul point, because that really hurts them. It potentially changes the entire game. Okay, Power of Evil decides to wait for his all, or teleport back in. He gets the steal. Mordekaiser ult is returned, by the way, and during this entire time, Jensen has decided that his ultimate is not of any value, especially into tight corridors like this, where his entire team is getting run down. Look, watch. Yeah. Interesting how, yeah, that's not really, yeah, there's no reason. No reason. I mean, it only makes an impenetrable wall that you can't actually walk over if you, yeah, okay. That one, I'm not excusing. That one's on him.
He's got no way through. PoE brought in. They're gonna wait for the stun. They find it here, and JJ should lose his life. And FlyQuest get 4 for 1 in the team fight.
He's saving the Emperor's Divide for TSM.
Take that away, and they are monstrously ahead.
So now, I mean, they are just, I mean, as they all said it, they're monstrously, they're monstrously ahead. They get the Dragon Steel.
So patiently, able to find the re-engage. Solo's ultimate coming back up. Power of Evil teleporting back in. This is after such a long dance, back and forth, tactical very low, and you can see him being pushed out of the fight really hurts their chances so much here. Over the wall, Solo.
Vincent is always so patient with his ultimates, isn't he?
Not up for him, and then in comes the smite, nailed by Santorin. PoE back to base.
That smite was
not up for him, and then in.
Oh, it's because of his auto. Yeah, I mean, Broxley actually can't smite that, right? There's nothing you can do.
Teleports in, then Solo flashing over the wall as his ult comes back up. He locks up Impact, who is going to eventually get knocked down. Even with that flash to dodge the E, it just doesn't matter. There's nowhere for him to go. Woo. And really nicely played there. You know, by
And now, I mean, it's just
able to chase down Core JJ
you just
as
snowball
well.
from
They
here,
easy
right?
fourth kill. They're just out team fighting Team Liquid, honestly, in this series. Overall, they have been better at those Dragon fights, and they are so far ahead now. Mikhails, I love the buy here for Ignar. So much of the engage is going to come from that Ashe, as well as the Bard. Shuts down one of those options pretty easily without your carries having to spend their gold on it.
What an impressive run so far.
I mean, when you're going, when you're 8K up, you feel very comfortable. So, or 7.5K. So they should feel pretty good here.
Cloud9 joining the LCS at the end of 2013. There's really only been 4 orgs that have won the LCS. Blackcliff wants to be number 5. See if they can make this one work as they're knocking down waves in the mid lane. Next Drake spawns in 3 minutes. Baron's already up. Impact on a flank move.
Okay. Oh, we're actually going at normal speed.
Back around is in fact going for Cleaver, by the way. Zonia's coming soon for solo. He's got 30% CDR. Those will going to be up a lot.
Back.
Now fought over. See, grab that. Here comes the engage. No
Go for
Impact can't do much.
pick.
Comes late. He can't go for anything else there. That's going to be a big
Kind of.
Out they go.
Throw the arrow out.
I believe was claimed
Don't even know if it was, if anyone could have followed up on it. If that arrow hits anyone.
Pretty big fight over very little, right? That was all really for the blue buff. You think, oh, the Dragon, they're going to retreat back to that. It's not even up for 2 minutes, so a lot of fighting here.
Now they've committed 2 ultimates. They can't really, I mean, there's nothing to test, I guess. Realistically, FlyQuest do not have a very good Baron taking team. Azir Ashe would be very good, but do not have Azir Ashe. TL does.
I think it scales additively with his passive. I could be wrong about that one, which means it's actually worse on Jhin.
So that means that there is an avenue, there is a world where FlyQuest can throw. It has to be a pretty massive throw, though.
I'm sure there are also LCS analysts who know this well.
This is a very comfortable lead. Regardless of the scaling on TL.
Enough for Santorin control words in the entire inventory of FlyQuest. That beautiful run left-hand side. Look at those control words. Everyone's got them.
And for the record, I'm pretty sure that Tactical should be going for second item, IE. Maybe not. But someone needs to get an item that Horn can upgrade. He's sitting on 3 upgrades.
One big crit on a squishy can just decide a fight. You can walk up and 4-shot someone for 50-60% of their health if they're a squishy.
No one is building an item that he can build on.
You just die sometimes. It is honestly shocking.
Alternatively, Azir could have gone for a Death Crown instead of the Leandris. I don't know if that's necessarily the best choice.
And essentially, yes, if Capital's at half, he is dead to 4th auto crit. Just period. That is the number. He is dead if he's at roughly 2/3 to half. The ult is going to get him for about 40%. 30-40%, right around there, if it's the 4th shot of the ultimate. This is absurd damage, and Tactical must be afraid. Jensen's in a very similar
But I'm pretty solidly sure you go for IE before the Renown.
Chance for a TL Dragon, or Baron sneak. Solo can take this by himself. Turtle help because they're not doing anything. Wards litter the map. Scuttle litters the map. TL have gotten 2 Drakes and a kill.
But maybe I'm just trying to figure out a way for TL to have someone have an Ornn item.
Is Bruxa even going to be able to get enough gold for QS?
It might just be an awkward situation with the way that their builds are supposed to be.
Decent team fight at that next dragon. You just mortal the Volibear, who's really weak by the way. He's 5 levels behind your Mordekaiser, 3 levels behind.
Alternatively, Tactical could have gone the less damage but still okay damage build for the Blade of the Ruin King, which could have been upgraded. But I feel like that's just not as good.
And we know TL almost certainly must fight over it. It is not literal GG if it's picked up. We have seen people take wins with Soul. We have seen people take losses against, or wins against it, I should say. But it's team
FlyQuest take the dragon unceremoniously. And by the way, interesting how they gave it up without a contest. I mean, this one is because they are just so far behind, but if you're willing to give up any dragon at this stage, probably we're willing to give up the other ones. Probably would have been willing to give up that at least the third one. I think the third one was a huge mistake.
Not with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 pieces together aren't any recipe. So I think
no one is bottom lane, because why would you want to be bottom lane? You only have 2 teleports that are available, so why would you want someone getting any of that farm?
It's really tough. I mean, you look at FlyQuest, all of them have 3
I think Solo should just sit here and threaten no one. He's not feasibly going to be able to hit his abilities.
A lot cheaper in that regard, so we'll see where they do end up. It would be big for them if they can get to some of those third item completions before this next fight.
I mean, I get it.
You know, critically,
Bottom
you
lane
can see
is
how Broxo could scrape together 13
already in a
for
bad
QSS,
state,
and
and
it seems like
both
no
teams
chance.
aren't really capitalizing on it. But
You can certainly try, but it's not going to be easy. He's not running a ton of gold. There's a lot of
nothing
camps
to
being
farm.
poached. Yeah, exactly. Like, you need to earn about 300 gold per minute, between 250 and 300 to make it from nothing to QSS, 1300 gold in the 5-minute span it takes for that break to spawn. And this isn't happening.
So,
He's not getting the money.
Tactical does have his Infinity Edge.
Let's start on this one. Let's get mission control. Hey, Broxo, by the way, if you try to steal, board will ult you. Vision over the wall. Shouldn't be a problem. Here comes the play. Here comes TP. Is there a miracle? Flash over. Tempered Fate buys some time, but this is easily burned down. Should be no problem. It's smited. It's no problem. Stun's not going to land on anything important. Soul's going to walk away.
Why is Soul... What?
In range to help.
Why is Soul allowed to walk away?
Immunes the pullback and control. Hey, Broxo,
What is this?
if you try to steal, board will ult you. Vision over the wall. Shouldn't be a
This
problem.
is the thing about what's going on, right? Solo flashes over the wall, ults Broxa, I hope. Because that's who you'd want. Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
Tempered Fate buys some time, but this is easily burned down. This should be no problem. It's smited. It's no problem. Stun's not going to land on anything important.
Now, technically, Broxa could have gone unstoppable, which would have then allowed him to flash over the wall, but that's whatever. Why is Tactical way over here? Why are they like 5-point spread across? What is this? Where are they targeting? Okay, he's gonna fight him, and then he's gonna fight him, and then they're just all lined up for each other. All right, cool. They're literally lined up exactly for each other. Except this benefits Fly because they just left the Baron Pit like bandits, and Solo is still fighting Impact, and for some reason no one says, why don't we just kill Impact or Solo?
Re-engage though. It's a knockup, but no one's in range to help. Immunes the pullback.
Why is no one in range?
Flash over. Tempered Fate buys some time. This is easily burned down.
Because they run away and... Okay, I guess I see it.
Problem. Stun's not going to land on anything important. Soul's going to walk away.
I guess I see it. I think the issue is that they were trying to curl around to go for the contest, but then they were already here when it was taken down. So you end up losing Baron, and then they're out of position for a kill on Solo.
It's a knockup, but no one's in range to help. Immunes the pullback, and look at that beautiful play. Solo flashes in to guarantee it. Broxa cannot steal. Baron picked up, and FlyQuest can easily reset and wear that buff on the road to Infernal Soul.
Just really nicely played, honestly, by FlyQuest. You know, flashing him over. Why risk it on some sort of a timing with Broxa, you know, ulting over the wall, unstoppable, maybe smiting it while he's still in the air or something like that. There's no reason to risk that. The Mordekaiser ultimate lasts so much longer than the Bardal.
So now the Ornn items are here.
It really just doesn't matter unless Santorin
Doesn't.
significant mismatch.
I guess it kind of makes up for the difference in gold value, but I mean, Broxa is like super dead weight because he's under farmed, mostly because his team is taking the farm. Oh. Oh, there's his ultimate.
So now with the added advantage of all of those stats from the Baron, which are multiplied by your death cap is complete for
what happened?
They are insanely strong. Thankfully for TL, they did complete the death cap for Jensen. That got upgraded as well. So they have the Rabadon's Death Crown.
So for some reason, instead of waiting for the tower, waiting for the wave to inevitably just walk into them, or get ushered into them, because I mean, feasibly speaking, FlyQuest do not have like some sort of crazy dive, so they can't take the Nexus on this Baron. It's still throwable, by the way. This is still entirely possible for FlyQuest to lose the game.
Molten Edge for Tactical, so those are some big completions for them.
Okay.
He wanted to win a lantern, but the rest of the was coming.
Okay. Yep.
They found 1,000,000 damage, and Tactical can't heal through that one. 1 for 0 so far.
Fair enough.
Gets big damage, but it's not big enough. And it's time for the chase down. Solo wants in for more, as 3 kills might be the target. QSS burned to get away from the root, and that means the Death Spell will signal a kill. This could be the game. This could be the series. This could be the match right now. And the LCS finals and back-to-back splits for FlyQuest as they go towards that first trophy. 5 versus 3. We have seen this before, but this time around the carries are the ones who are dead. TL may not be able to muster a defense as FlyQuest knocked down turret after
Should
turret.
be done. I don't know why Santorin left. He probably should have just stayed on the tower up there. Solo is chasing down Broxa for some reason.
You have no way of coming back into this one.
Just not going to risk it at all, and that's the ultimate force in retreat there from Broxa. Turtle could just pop over to his team. They can't even contest this Infernal Soul. They could have.
I mean, it's 12,000. Yeah, I mean, now it's definitely over.
They grab 2 of the inhibitors.
Definitely over.
They can
12,000 gold
without
lead
blocking,
with
look for a
Infernal
triple
Soul
hit
and
with
4
everything
Infernal
in their
Dragons
favor.
is
FlyQuest are so incredibly close. It's hard to find the comeback for TL. It needs to be
impossible.
something incredible. It really feels like out of Jensen, a miraculous team.
I mean, I
fight
guess
here,
the
but the
argument
only way
here
to
is, or this game is kind of finished. They have to contest because it's 1 minute until the dragon, so they want to look for something.
some big completions for them.
Ooh, he still took the stun. He wanted a way to lantern, but the rest was coming, but they found a route. They found a million damage, and Tactical can't heal through that one.
Tactical
1 for 0 so far.
probably should have flashed that, but again, that's actually fairly difficult. That missile speed is really fast. Not impossible, but yeah, I mean, they were in a really tough position at that. By this point, maybe they were in a really tough position. I think that they're allowed to give up. I mean, if you get these 2 early dragons, you're allowed to start giving up dragons, right?
Let's pad the scoreboard. Let's grab that neutral objective. Let's guarantee you have no way of coming back of this one.
Yes, obviously the game is harder when the enemy team has 3 dragons. The game becomes infinitely harder if they have 3 dragons and 12k gold on you. It could have been a lot more. It could have been way closer.
Look for a triple inhib with everything in their favor. FlyQuest are so incredibly close. It's hard to find the comeback for TL. It needs to be something incredible. It really feels like out of
I still think that FlyQuest played it mostly correctly.
They could hold on in this game.
20 seconds left on the Baron buff means they might fall back.
In terms of their decision making in the game.
Push TL off and say, we'd like to grab this, thank you very much. 230 damage on a Jensen, a pullback on impact's not going to mean too much. As timer winds down, re-engage towards solo, Death Realms in with Broxa. No way out for the Volibear. Should be
I mean, they needed to play those fights when they played them, and they got the fights that they wanted. So it just ends up being difficult for Team Liquid, because Team Liquid chose to take those fights. It's really important to remember that the way that fights happen is people need to be in the same place. Obviously. So, for example, Tactical and Core JJ are about to die. They wouldn't die if they were at the Baron Pit, because no one else is there. Their Nexus would explode, but they wouldn't die. Now let's take the Nexus and give it a less hyperbolic objective. One of the dragons. The dragon does die, but because you're not there and you're somewhere else, let's say again you're just having fun in the Baron Pit, just having a dance party over there. You don't die, which means that they don't get extra gold. But they will get the objective that you're giving up. Basically, what I'm saying is, it would have been more beneficial for Team Liquid to have a dance party in the Baron Pit than to contest those dragons. Specifically, those first 2 that they contested. After that one, I mean, it becomes infinitely more difficult, obviously, right? They have to be more willing to play patiently. Basically, that's it. And I feel like, in a lot of ways, based on the way that like Jensen was playing, it seemed as though that at least on Jensen's part, he was willing to play the patient game. He was willing to be like, I don't know if we really need to go for these kind of plays. I think he's very willing to go for the higher percentage plays, which is to wait for his Rebadon's Death Crown and then go for a fight. Because if you're in this position, right, where you've given up 3 dragons to a team that doesn't outscale you, but the gold lead is a lot closer. Let's say it expands to like 4K. Let's say it's a 4K gold lead. So that means that we've shaved off 5K from their gold right now. A 4K gold lead, when you consider the fact that Ornn items provide several thousands of gold at this stage, is about even. And then you consider that Azir is one of the strongest late game carries in the game. And at 3 items, he is super online. Same thing with Ashe. I mean, not to the same degree at all, but she is also very strong. High DPS. Ornn is probably not killable by anyone if the gold lead is shaved significantly. I think the game really just comes down to that. Not the third dragon. I feel it comes down to fourth. I feel like the fourth one was it here? Oh no, this is the one where they could have danced around FlyQuest, given up the third dragon in exchange for better position everywhere, lane assignments being doled out, a frozen wave topside being a dead lane for one of the carries on FlyQuest, and then maybe they also give up the Herald. Now, because Solo doesn't actually go through and get the Scuttle Crab, they could have gotten the Herald too. So imagine a world where in a best case scenario, which I don't think is super far off from reality, and especially given the fact that in their best case scenario they just get the dragon and get out, right? Alright, I guess in their best case scenario they win the fight and then they get the dragon, so fair enough. But in this best case scenario, you get the Herald, you lose the dragon, you get Herald, you get this lane is just Azir's playground, and you can use the mid lane to farm your Ashe. And I mean, Impact's still going to be behind, but it'll be less painful. Plus, you would have denied minions to Solo because you would have slow pushed this wave, and then you would have crashed this as soon as you realized that you were not contesting the dragon at that point, which frankly should be known
We could get a lot of
like 30 seconds in advance of this dragon being spawned,
it towards
or even 40
Moves towards
seconds.
dragon.
Like right here,
Down and knocks down the
when
wave.
does this die?
Uh,
Right here, that's when you know you're not contesting this dragon. Frankly, you should probably know that you're not contesting the third dragon in most scenarios from the beginning of the game. Because while I didn't consider it, I would imagine that professional teams do consider, of course, the one-item spikes on FlyQuest. So that should have already been a consideration.
Solo first turret gold, and
Anyway,
the move towards
the game is still not even over
re-engage,
after
comes in,
that.
shots to the wall, impact the target, easily shot, easily killed, 2 snipes from the catches the farm, 14 CSD across the 80 carries.
But yeah, it's
you can
not great.
actually
We're at 3.5k.
be easier,
But you can make that up.
But nice try.
Nice try.
And there is a school of thought.
So
That does work out. We're like, look, we can just burn down Volibear together as a
Let's
squad.
go
I
to
want to make sure Jensen dies. And through that lens, I like it a lot. Otherwise, yes, Cleaver very much helps Jin do well be Cleaver.
The 4 hits on a pick. Farm very well. He's
But
at
there is a
26
world
It's not even 21 minutes, so he's clearly farming very effectively.
where
Done, let's go. And so it's really good for those specific scenarios. Slightly worse overall long-term wave.
they actually win this fight.
We're, a bit more AP, yeah,
So that requires higher execution than I think is really fair to judge on.
Trails off very quickly because it does have decay. Or honestly, a lot of times people just don't use it. They don't actually get it off at the proper times in the fight. So it does require you to be a lot better with it. The flat move speed I know is something that PowerGuild really likes about it, and I've heard him talk specifically about
Here, this is just an unfortunate byproduct of Jelly. So I think, I mean, I already said this a lot, right? I think if they commit to going forward here, they can win this fight and get this dragon, putting them on soul point and almost guaranteeing them game. But if they want to choose the defensive route, which is fine, they have to also leave immediately, right? And even a 1 for 0, even here, arguably still not losing.
This load is pretty risky. He does have a little bit of life steal with his runes. His fleet and his heal is still up, so they're gonna stay around. They're gonna ignore back to base and try to just play this a little bit more slowly, so they can get healed up and find a good angle to take this.
This goes pretty big. It gives Turtle health and mana back. It lets them see what he's doing the whole time. PowerGuild feels safe to do this. And Thorn gonna get his health.
Even though FlyQuest are 5k in the lead, right? Which is bad. It is not good. But if they're 5k in the lead, what are we doing? So is it's obviously a high stress situation, right? This is game 5. This secures avoiding play-ins. You get first or second seed at Worlds. You get to ride out until Sunday. You get to watch the next team that comes into you, and you get to see their form. You see what they're banning, what they're picking. A lot of good value there. So there's a lot of value in getting this win. So I can see the stress, I can see the situation. So I grant them all of that. Still think that you shouldn't contest. Like if you already know that. Hmm. Maybe they were just all. I guess they were just always willing to contest no matter what the lead looks like. Right? It seems strange. But it seems like they decided they're contesting every single dragon, no matter what. Until it got to the point where it's like, alright, give up this dragon. On the 5th dragon spawn. Where it became very, very abundantly clear that they could not possibly contest. I still have a lot of faith in TL, frankly. I think this is kind of just a cascade of mistakes happening all at once. Where, you make a mistake here and then you kind of continue to make the same mistake because you never really corrected the first mistake. Or the mentality behind the first mistake, so then you just keep making the same mistake over and over until it becomes impossible for you to come back. In any case, I'm Raho. Should be a fun final. Or not even a final. Whatever the next round is. Losers final, I guess, is what it is. Should be a fun losers final. And then a fun final. Peace.